Welcome back. Now, Tom Moyane's application to cross-examine Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan has been dismissed. Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo handed down the judgment earlier today. Moyane was fired as SARS boss last year. His lawyer, Eric Mabuza, joins us now for this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me to your show.
This application to, well, this really the ruling to dismiss the application to have Minister Pravin Gordhan actually cross-examine. How do you receive it on behalf of yourself and your client?
We are obviously disappointed with the ruling, and we strongly disagree with it. We think that the ruling is susceptible to a challenge. We are only awaiting the written ruling, and once we've received it and studied it, we'll be able to advise the nation what our next step is.
Yeah, let's go through it. I mean, I just wanted to look at what the Deputy Chief Justice was saying. I mean, saying that your application or the client's application did not comply with the rules of the State Capture Commission, and then going into a part where he actually said that the rules of the commission require that an implicated party to identify which part of a witness statement do they deny or dispute. So with that said, was or did yourselves and your client, Tom Moyane in this case, deny and dispute the implications as well as the allegations leveled against you by Pravin Gordhan?
You will remember, Faith, that we were invited to the commission after we received a letter from the commission advising us that the statement of Minister Gordhan implicates Mr. Moyane. So we did not go to the commission on our own volition. We were in fact invited, and the commission pointed to us the paragraphs that implicated us. So we're quite surprised that the ruling of the Deputy Chief Justice says that we could not identify the aspects where we're implicated. But you'll also remember that during argument, when the evidence leaders were asked, they indeed supported our argument that the statement of Minister Gordhan, as well as his submissions, in fact implicate us, and they supported our view that we were entitled to cross-examine Minister Gordhan. So it's quite surprising now that the Deputy Chief Justice ruled that we were not able to identify that. When we identified that both in oral argument, we're supported by the evidence leaders, we also identified that in our own submissions.
No, but then he's saying that you did not necessarily deny or actually dispute certain claims. So I'm going to go back to these claims that were actually given by the Minister Pravin Gordhan, so that we can clear the air, I think, this evening. I think it's only fair to do so. So Minister Gordhan, during his testimony, said that despite the SARS boss being accountable to the finance minister then, that being himself, actually what ended up happening is that Moyane had snubbed him when he was reappointed to the post as SARS commissioner. Is that true or false?
That is not true. In fact, in our affidavit, if you went through our affidavit, you'll be able to see our version there where we dispute that and we give an account of our understanding of the relationship. You'll also remember that, in fact, Mr. Moyane even complained to the president about the way Minister Gordhan was treating him. So that is an issue that is already in the public domain. But you know what is very concerning is that either the rules themselves are unreasonable or the way in which the commission interpreted the rule is problematic. Let me give you an example. It is quite easy for someone to go to the commission and implicate a person. The bar is very low. I mean, all you need to do, you just need to tell whatever you think the person did wrong. Yes. But somehow the standard is quite high for a person who is implicated to clear his name. We find that discrepancy quite concerning.
So you are denying the fact that, you know, and this is what the Nugent Commission actually found, that under the leadership of Tom Moyane, Moyane failed to deal with those who are not tax compliant, and added that measures to counter criminality have been compromised, and those who trade illicitly in commodities like tobacco operate with little constraint. So this finding by the Nugent Commission, and I'm not even trying to be another commission of inquiry, I'm just trying to understand why is it that the application to cross-examine Minister Pravin Gordhan was dismissed? Because now it appears as though it's either A, you were treated unfairly, or B, that there's actually grounds for the Deputy Chief Commission to actually say these things. So Is it true or false that actually under his leadership, where there was a shortfall of more than 14 billion, if I'm not incorrect, over the last 5 years within SARS in itself, that these allegations leveled against your client are not true?
Well, let me first correct you on one aspect.
Yeah.
You'll remember that the Commission has reserved one issue, so it's not entirely correct that our application was dismissed in its entirety. There's still an issue that the Deputy Chief Justice is going to send directions for the parties to address him on that aspect. So it's not entirely correct that the application...
So it's not dismissed, but for now.
But the second point that I want to make, you'll also remember that in his ruling, Justice Zondo said that he was not bound, he's not going to be bound by the findings of the Nugent Commission. On the other hand, we thought that it was quite incorrect for him to take into account aspects of the Nugent Commission, particularly when we advised him that we are challenging those findings.
Okay, so again, you are challenging those findings, but that is what I'm asking you is, these allegations leveled against your client, this issue around where commodities like the operating of illicit tobacco was done so with little constraint. These allegations that actually, whilst he was a SARS commissioner, SARS lost a significant amount, billions, over a 5-year period. These allegations that, in fact, he snubbed the finance minister, Pravin Gordhan, during his tenure. These allegations that he was being protected by former President Jacob Zuma. Are you denying all of the allegations that have been leveled against your client? Because surely, if somebody is partially dismissed or put your case on hold as a result of not actually having the adequate or for your client not being able to dispute or actually refute some of those claims, there must be grounds for it. So I'm asking you, is that do you deny that these allegations leveled against your client are true?
You know, even to his credit, Minister Gordhan did not bring that to the Zondo Commission. So that aspect never served before the Zondo Commission. It may have served before the Nugent Commission, but that's not an issue that we are dealing with before the Zondo Commission. So that issue is entirely irrelevant for the purposes of what we are discussing today.
So what I'm asking you then is why is it that he dismissed this claim? Why is it that he said, and I can read the statement that was actually uttered by the Deputy Chief Justice here, saying that your application does not comply with the rules of the State Capture Commission. That's something.
But I've already told you, I said his interpretation of the rules is very restrictive. I've told you...
So he's not good. So he's not correct in the way in which he interpreted the restriction?
With respect, we say no. Let me give you an anomaly. You know, it would be quite easy for Mr. Moyane tomorrow to tender himself to testify and put out all those allegations, his version on those aspects. The bar is so low. But why is it when he wants to address those issues in cross-examination, the bar is set high? If tomorrow Mr. Moyane announced that he wanted to testify on his own volition, you would not have all these restrictions that have been put for him to challenge Minister Gordhan.
Do you understand that right now, Eric, you and I are discussing the semantics around your client's case, and not necessarily, not once have you said, actually, all of this is completely false against my client. And in fact, because it's so false against my client, we're going to be doing a further interrogation and investigation into it and lodging further application against it, because I feel like my client has been treated completely unfairly.
But that's what he wanted to do with cross-examination, to test. Remember, one of the conditions of cross-examining Minister Gordhan was that he made himself available to testify and be cross-examined by Minister Gordhan. I mean, this is someone who's open with the commission to say, I want to test the version of Minister Gordhan. After that, I will testify and I'm prepared to be subjected to cross-examination. What more do you expect someone to do? It is quite unfair. I mean, the right to cross-examine your accuser is a basic right. One of the things that one is unclear about, what are we to make of the evidence of Minister Gordhan, which is untested? Who is going to test?
According to him, you have not disputed, nor have you denied. Has that true? According to him, not according to me. According to him, you have not disputed or denied.
We deny that. Our affidavit is quite clear on that we deny that.
So when it comes to this issue now, what happens from here on? And I must ask you that. Number one, what happens from here on? But number two, do you think there's a hidden agenda against your client to silence him? I'm just asking. Do you think that somebody out there has got an agenda to silence your client because of not allowing him to cross-examine the minister?
You see, I don't want to get into conspiracy. That is for the public to make up their own mind.
But you are the lawyer. So as the lawyer of your client, representing your client, do you think that there's a hidden agenda against your client? Because if it is, then you guys have got a hill to climb.
All I'm saying is that Mr. Moyane tenders himself to cross-examine and to be cross-examined himself. It is for the public to debate that, to make up their mind on why there is this denial of Mr. Moyane being given an opportunity to put his side of the story.
Not so many words, spoken like a true lawyer. Eric, we're going to leave our conversation there this evening. And thanks a lot for joining us and shedding some light in terms of exactly what your views are with regards to your client's case, Tom Moyane. Then obviously the findings there by the Deputy Chief Justice, just looking at how the claim or the application to actually cross-examine the Minister, Pravin Gordhan, has been dismissed. That is obviously with regards to that state capture inquiry there. Thank you so much, Eric, for joining us this evening there.